You're watching Quays News. I'm Liz Theaker.
And I'm Niamh McDermott. Here's what's coming up in today's programme.
Push it real good. The midwives protest. They are pushing the business for better working conditions.
Now we look into the damages of how fast fashion and how we can be more sustainable.
And did you learn to put a condom on a cucumber in school? We're investigating sex education in religious schools.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the programme. Our top story, calling all midwives.
Across the UK, midwives are protesting to ask the government for more staff and funding. Rin Monk has more.
That is the sound of midwives, fed up of being called but not heard, as some work up to 13 hours without no breaks.
Working conditions for midwives are just not manageable at the moment. And at the moment, we're not able to do our job the way that we want to. So we're suffering physically, mentally and emotionally because of all them factors. We want to be listened to, and we want the government to acknowledge how the shortage of midwives really impacts.
At the march, countless of speakers came together to talk about the work environment that these midwives experience every single day. But some are still terrified to talk about these experiences in the open.
I think when you start off you think, oh, you're switching into being a student midwife. Actually, a lot of the time what we're dealing with, they'll say things like, oh, we've only got 5 midwives overnight, but don't worry because we've got 3 students. They're not retaining students, they're not retaining new qualified midwives. At the minute there's no incentive other than purely wanting to do the job. And also just the morale at the minute is absolutely shocking. To listen to midwives kind of half joking with you but kind of being serious, saying to you, get out now, like you don't want to do this, and like that kind of morale when you're halfway through a degree, knowing what you're going into but knowing it's still what you want to do is really difficult.
When you're applying for a job and when you're seeking a degree to get your dream job, the main thing that you look for is how you're going to make an impact in your career and what differences are you going to make. And the thing is, if the framework isn't there in the first place, if you haven't got a steady foundation, you cannot build on top of that. And we are not going to go into our careers after 3 years of solid training and be able to make an impact, because initially that framework is not there, it's non-existent at the moment.
Mandatory sex education in primary and secondary schools. Only a couple of years ago, faith schools were not obligated to provide students with a full sex education. Some students in particular have suggested that the little that was taught to them had caused more harm than good.
The attitudes shown towards sex education, believing it wasn't to be talked about, almost certainly emphasised the idea that it's taboo and made us internalise toxic attitudes towards ourselves and our relationships with our bodies and sex.
I was kind of confused, and you're left to do your own research and find out things for yourself, which is not really what schools should be leaving students to do. It could be really dangerous for students to be left to find things out for themselves.
Now, according to Section 34 of the Children and Social Work Act of 2017, sex and relationship education has been made mandatory for all school years. The law allows faith schools to teach in the tenets of their own religion. However, not everybody agrees with this law. Last month, parents in London protested against relationship education being taught in Manorfield Primary School, saying it is harmful to expose children to it so young. Generally, many teachers in faith schools have responded positively to the new law.
We have included other topics such as consent, things around the safeguarding curriculum, around abuse within relationships.
But the law passing allows for students of all faiths to have an adequate sex education, which will allow students to feel comfortable having an open dialogue in a safe space and will protect them in future circumstances.
So, what do you think? Is sex ed taught enough? Maybe you think schools go too far and it should be left to the parents. Get involved in the discussion at Quays News on social media.
Now, Christmas is just around the corner and most of us are hoping it's far better than last year when lots of us international students struggled to get home for the Christmas. Now, in the studio today, we have Stian Olsen, who's here to talk with Jess Mason.
Thanks, Neve. So yeah, I've been looking into this and the current cases in Norway are only 1,520 in comparison to over 42,000 over here. So does this make you worried to take COVID back home?
Not really, because I'm fully vaccinated, and also, let's say, if I do bring it back home, I live in a very small town and Norway is not as centralised as here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And on Friday, the Norwegian government are stopping all restrictions on travel into Norway. So does this put you at a bit more ease knowing you can get back for Christmas?
Yes, because last year I had to travel very early in order to secure myself to actually celebrate Christmas back home. But now it's a lot easier and yeah, a lot more flexible.
So how early did you have to leave to go back home?
It was mid to late October.
Mm-hmm. And when did you come back?
As early as 2nd of January, so I basically didn't have any vacation, just straight back to Salford.
And why was it so important that you went back home?
Well, it was my first year of studying abroad, not living at home, so I wanted to spend as much time home as possible, and my sister had a newborn son, and I also want to spend time with him.
Mm-hmm. So back in Norway, do you have to have COVID passports for as little things as going out to restaurants and things like that?
Not anymore. We have something called a COVID certificate, but that is only needed if you are traveling back to Norway.
Mm-hmm. And are there finally direct flights back to Norway? Because I imagine that would have been a lot of money to have to spend.
Yeah, now there's direct flights and it saves me a lot of money and hours.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me in the studio today.
Thank you, Stian. Now, more of today's news, and in more particular in the last hour. French officials have announced that several migrants heading for the UK have drowned in the Channel after a boat sank. A rescue team of 3 boats and a helicopter was sent out this morning. Currently, 24 bodies have been recovered while 26 people have been rescued. The French Interior Minister has tweeted his condolences, blaming smugglers for the tragic death of so many.
2 Met officers, PC Dennis Jaffer and PC Jamie Lewis, have been sacked after admitting gross misconduct. The pair took photos of 2 murdered sisters, Nicole Smallman and Bieber Henry. The officers then described them as dead birds in WhatsApp messages in August. The pair have previously admitted taking photos and sharing photos of the women. They'll be sentenced on December 6th. A Salford golf course has been sold for housing. Bellway Homes has paid £40 million for the Brackley course in Little Hulton. It plans to build up to 690 homes. Salford Council will receive £18.5 million from the sale, making it the biggest single capital receipt in its 47-year history. Imagine getting nice clothes on the cheap while raising money for charity and protecting the planet. Well, that's what one entrepreneur's doing, and she's got some local support. I went to see if charity shopping is the sustainable way to go. Quite like doing a full day of shopping in 5 minutes online. With just a few clicks, you can have a whole new wardrobe in 24 hours. But the convenience doesn't come without a cost.
The production from the fashion industry is directly connected to climate change and water pollution. Clothing is produced from polyester fabrics and acrylic and synthetics, which are essentially fossil fuel-based fabrics.
It takes around 1,800 gallons of water to produce one pair of jeans, yet over 10,000 items of clothing are being sent to landfill every 5 minutes. As people become more environmentally conscious, second-hand stores and charity shops have seen a rise in popularity.
I've seen over the years of being with British Heart Foundation how charity shops are becoming more and more fashionable.
The store hosted a charity shop lock-in, a ticketed event celebrating the launch of their glitz and glam festive range. With live music, free goodies and even a bit of fizz, they showcased the best of their new collection.
We've got loads of new stock, brand new stock, we've got lots of vintage stock, so we've got a real selection. You never know what you're going to find. You can often find some quite good one-off pieces as well.
I spoke to customers to find out why they choose to charity shop.
I don't know, I just feel like there's so many clothes in the world that we need to cut down on buying fast fashion.
With this new wave of second-hand shoppers, thrifting is trending online too, as the next generation take to social media to share what's in their charity shop basket.
Going to charity shops, and you're really hitting two birds with one stone, which is helping the charity and increasing the longevity of clothing.
Climate change is the hot topic right now, and as we strive to be more sustainable, maybe fast fashion just isn't fashionable anymore.
Now, as teenagers, we tend to get lazy, and especially in college, but the Salford Red Devils Charity Foundation is trying to do something about it. It says it's improving opportunities for young people across Greater Manchester. Georgie Hebson went to find out more.
Doing sports at school might ring a bell to some of you, but imagine having the opportunity to play for the official charity partnering with the Super League Salford Red Devils. Well, for students at Eccles Sixth Form College, they're lucky to be the base of the Red Devils Foundation.
We've got over 40 learners that perform for Salford Red Devils on a rugby pitch, but they also get a first-class education as part of that programme. So the fact that we're based in Eccles College gives us a real community feel, the base, and we've got the high-quality education right outside our door, literally. We have historically done some girls' activities. We run our development pathway, which is boys and girls. Our college academy here is boys and girls as well. So there's that underpinning pathway, but now we've got the open age team. It really is kind of the pinnacle of the development triangle for the girls. Hopefully we'll be competing in the championship this year with aspirations to get into Super League. The Rugby League World Cup happens next year, and if we're really lucky, some of our players may be able to get selected for some of the representative honours in that World Cup, which is based in England, and the final's going to be at Old Trafford, so just across the way, so that's really exciting times for us.
The programme's been running for 16 years and has a very promising alumni.
The college programme played for the academy, and at the end of that I got an apprenticeship with the foundation, and now obviously gone to work with them in a full-time job. Yeah, it's great. Obviously I enjoyed it from when I was being where the lads are now to playing, and I enjoy this side of it now, being one of the coaches helping them. So yeah, I enjoy both sides.
Georgine Hebson, Quays News.
Nadine is with us now at Old Trafford to tell us the latest sports news.
Hi, I'm here in Old Trafford. It has come to light that Ole Solskjaer will be ending his 14-year relationship at the club after failing to win the trophy in nearly 3 years as a manager. Solskjaer signed a new 3-year deal in July after overseeing 5 defeats in the last 7 Premier League matches. The club confirmed that former player Michael Carrick, who was part of Solskjaer's coaching staff, would take charge as a caretaker until the end of the season. So I'm here with a fan of Manchester United. So Jake, have you always been a supporter of Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, it's a family tradition. We've always loved the club, always come to games. So yeah.
Were you happy when you find out the news?
I mean, I wasn't happy or sad. I mean, Ole was as an average manager, but you know, he's part of the history of the club. So it is sad to see him go, but he'll obviously still be around. I don't know if his exit to the club was his fault or it was the players' fault. I mean, Ronaldo probably had a pretty big influence on the other players, trying to kick him out, but it's only theories.
Do you now see a brighter future for Manchester United?
Again, I couldn't tell you, but we're middle of the table right now, so fingers crossed we rise.
Thank you.
That's all for now. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.